Hello, this is Elizabeth Estel, Homeschool Christian Mom, and thank you for joining me as I review this 7th grade literature curriculum from BJU Press Homeschool. So I'm going to be talking about their vocabulary level A, the writing and grammar that has a baseball theme, and then the explorations in literature, and we'll get started here. So the vocabulary A is a small book. It can be done in one semester or through the whole year. We usually did it in a semester, and it would be one page twice a week to just get through it in a semester. And the emphasis in the vocabulary book is on the principles of where did English come from, what do common prefixes and suffixes mean, and how can we discern the meaning of a new word from what we already know about it. So it differentiates between specialized and general meaning, using context clues with good supplemental activities, a comprehensive index in the back of the book, and it has activities throughout to supplement if you need it, or you can just stay with what's on those pages. And I found that this was a very good preparation later for the SAT and ACE tests. And then the grammar, the Teacher's Edition grammar book, right here, also has a CD in the back. And I can't emphasize enough the importance of getting the Teacher's Edition because there are so many more resources in it. If you just get the student text, you're only getting about 1/3 of the information. So the CD has rubrics for grading things and also supplemental materials for the text. So the writing and grammar, you might say, well, we already speak English. Why do we need to study writing and grammar? We speak English every day. But the grammatical terms and concepts are largely familiar to you. So there's an emphasis in this book on the orderliness of language. Plus, it includes a writing component. The writing assignments include informative writing, personal narrative, descriptive writing, creative writing, persuasive writing, and report writing. And it makes sure that your students know that as you talk, or the way you would write with your friends or talk with your friends would be different than the formal writing that they're talking about for essays or a personal story. I really like that in Chapter 1, to introduce writing, they actually have sort of an art activity. They create a book jacket. Now, book jackets used to just be for protection from dust and dirt, but now a book jacket is a lot of advertisement, isn't it? So even though we say you can't judge a book by its cover, that is what we often do when we're looking for a book and looking for something that looks good to read. We're judging it by its cover. So it gives your students an opportunity to create a book jacket. I thought that was a nice way to do it. And it also includes a section in the writing and grammar on using troublesome words correctly. Not just spelling them, but in usage. I thought that was very important. And I found that this format helped my children do well on standardized tests at the end of the year and then later when they needed to get into college. For the explorations in literature book, there are different sections. They divided them by categories: courage, nature and man, generosity, our land, humility, and family. So the stories in each section are themed. Each section also introduces any new vocabulary the students would need to know with those stories. And the vocabulary and index in the back are very complete, which I always think is nice. So for explorations in literature, this is 7th grade curriculum. These are foundational concepts necessary to the study and appreciation of literature. So literature is communication, and this book is also emphasizing the application of scriptural principles in our literature. Why are we reading what we're reading? Are we reading good, wholesome things? So it's talking about the themes of a book, and it's also talking about moral tone. They have a whole section in the teacher's book of how to address objectionable elements in literature. So not all the stories have good characters that do the right thing, but all those plots and protagonists are talked about in the light of Scripture. So what makes a good moral tone for a book? Well, the good guys win and the bad guys lose, and sin is also always portrayed as evil. People shouldn't be getting ahead in life by doing evil. So they have a good way to approach objectionable elements in literature. Now, I remember in public school having to read some literature that was very disturbing, and it didn't have a good moral tone, and it was just troubling. These books, all of the BJU Press homeschool books, do not do that. They do not just present troubling, weird things just because. They present it in a good way, in a scriptural light, so that you can feel confident that your children are reading a good material and are looking at it through the lenses of Scripture. The Explorations in Literature book also comes with a CD, and these CDs, you can look through them in 10 or 12 or 15 minutes to see what's there. They're not like so extensive that it's overwhelming, but they do contain a lot of extra things. Enrichment, writing worksheets, rubrics to help you grade, short answer quizzes. If you have a student where English is the second language, or in your family, they have ESL tips, reading and vocabulary word lists. They even have bulletin board ideas because these books are used in a regular Christian school setting. They have writing projects. Now, I liked how they introduced the writing projects. You might introduce them on Monday, require a rough draft by Wednesday. The student corrects it on Thursday and can hand it in on Friday. And their writing lessons are organized in a logical, step-by-step process, so it should not be frustrating for you or for your student. Now, of course, there are difficulties sometimes motivating students to read certain passages, but I wanted to make sure you knew that these stories are not just, oh, your girls will like them, but your boys won't. Or your girls will like this, they're more for girls, or they're more for boys. But the very first book is "'Twas a Dark and Dreary Night," and it has a very nice illustration there. The student text is reproduced in the teacher's book, and then the extra material is around the edges, and they're highlighted sections so you can see what's important. But this first story is of two boys sleeping out at night. One boy doesn't want the other one to know he's afraid of the sleeping out in the dark at night, and the other boy doesn't want anyone else to know he's afraid of bats, and just how they work it out. And it's a little has some comedy in it, but it also has some serious how do you work with your friends, and it is very well done. So I just wanted to talk about, do you need all of these books? I would highly recommend you get the kits with the literature and the writing and grammar and the vocabulary, because they all are well integrated together to work together. So the literature is one semester, the writing and grammar is the other semester. The tests and answer keys come separately. You can see the little answer key here, or the tests. They're very well done with how they test. It's not all short answer. It's not all multiple choice. It's not all essays. It's well mixed together so your student learns to think critically. They can answer the literal questions, but they can also evaluate, and it develops that critical thinking that your students are going to need later in life. I highly recommend the BJU Press Homeschool 7th grade literature, writing and grammar, and vocabulary books. For 7th grade, the vocabulary book is A, but of course it goes A, B, C, D, E, and F all the way up through 12th grade. They say some books you can switch which one you do which year, like E and F can easily be interchanged, but they don't recommend interchanging C and D because of the progression in the books. So in vocabulary book A, you're mostly talking about Latin roots in book B, Greek, and then C, D, E, and F, go on from there and expand the knowledge and etymologies of the words. I hope this has been helpful. I'll put my link below in the comments. It would be great if you could buy through my link for the BJU Press Homeschool, and I hope you have happy homeschooling and join me on Facebook, Homeschool Christian Mom, or I have very helpful articles at HomeschoolChristianMom.com, and I'll have a blog article that will go with this as well in a little while. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, put them in the comments and I'll answer them later.